Howdy folks, Jamboriki here, and I love Steven Universe. What is Steven Universe? Well, Steven Universe follows the adventures of 3 gems called Amethyst, Pearl, Garnet, and a half-gem called Steven. It's a revolutionary series with a progressive take on gender and sexuality, fun likeable characters with identifiable flaws, laugh-out-loud humour, and lots of creative imagination. Now, I've reviewed episode 1 of Steven Universe in my official DVD, Rainbow Lollipop, but I'd like to go even further back and talk about the pilot episode of Steven Universe, where it all began. In this pilot, Amethyst lends Steven a magical hourglass, which gives him the power to turn back time and make better comebacks to those who tease him. However, this starts to affect the balance of time and attracts a terrifying monster. The gems have to fight it to save the day. The most noticeable thing about this episode is that it looks very different to the show it would later become. Pearl is taller and doesn't have a pointy nose, Garnet has long hair, and Steven looks a bit bigger. Plus the gem's home is much smaller, it looks cramped. However, these differences don't affect the show, because the spirit of the characters in their universe is very much alive. The characters are still likeable thanks to their distinct, fun personalities, and the world they live in offers plenty of imaginative ideas. Sure, the episode is your typical don't mess around with time and space story, but it's flavoured with fantastic humour. The fact that Steven uses time travel to make snappy comebacks is pretty funny because it's such a childish use of a powerful item. Plus, the comeback Steven creates are pretty damn clever.
Joke! You know that, right? You're a big joke!
It must be tougher for you, Lars. At least people like jokes.
Oh, Steven, you're on fire.
Also, the fact that the hourglass can only be used for one purpose makes for an interesting twist on the usual time travel story. The writers have to get very creative about how our heroes can use the hourglass to save the day, and the direction they take is quite genius. I love the animation style for this pilot too. It looks much more fluid and expressive than the style they would end up going for. There's a bouncy flexibility to the characters' movements that's perfect for the adorable bubbly tone of the show. The big battle between the gems and the monster is pretty awesome too. The monster, which is clearly inspired by Mexican Day of the Dead art, looks really unique, and its hair design is cleverly utilised as an attack method. I like that they didn't go for the obvious route and have a clock-related villain or something like that. Makes for something more surprising. To conclude, I think that the pilot episode for Steven Universe is a pretty good start to the show. Heck, I'd go as far as saying that it's a decent gateway into this series. Sure, it's a little shorter compared to a regular Steven Universe episode, but it's still very satisfying. I've been Jamboriki and I hope you enjoyed this episode review. Feel free to support me on my Patreon. Cheerio, folks.